this video, we're going to take a look at pattern brushes or patterns along a path. You need these in order to make frames or in order to draw zippers for fashion design and a lot of other things in infographics generally. In Illustrator, you have the most options for doing so. So let's start with this checkered pattern, and these are just two black squares. I'm going to drag them into the brushes panel, make a pattern brush, and then I get all these options. And for this here, I've got that pattern here. And then Illustrator can do some things automatically that you can see in here. So as you can imagine, whenever the path makes a corner, then these can get difficult. And Illustrator has the option to automatically get this around a corner. And you see there are some automatic options. They all do not get quite there. This or this are probably, in this case, the best options. So I'm just leaving it like this. And in here, we can select the same. Now we can select the colorization method and set this to tints. And now when I'm drawing a square and setting the stroke to some color and apply that brush, then you see I've got a nice frame. If I now see that I want to have that differently and I want to get a better option of these corners, then I need to adjust that. I have already prepared that. I've got a video about how to get better corners and how to just tweak Illustrator to make better corners. And I'm just going to use that here. So in order to make them better, you have to prepare those artworks differently. And these I'm going to use in here. Let's first just double click this. I'm going to set this to none again. And then I'm going to drag that in. And in order to replace the elements of a brush, all you need to do is hold down the Alt key and drag it over here. And then take this corner element and again hold down the Alt key and drag it over there. And there you see we've got better corners. The only thing I still need to do, I'm going to again open that. I need to set this option up here. And then I can have this exactly checkered border. So what's not possible is to get this into the other direction. So this can only be used for frames. And let's take a look at the other options of that brushes by creating an actual zipper. This is also based on that checker pattern. So I'm just going to create a new brush. Set this to tints again, and I'm going to turn these off completely because zippers don't do corners anyway. And then we can also have start and end pieces for these brushes. And in order to get them, you just need to hold down the Alt key while dragging the pieces into there. And I've got a video about that as well. That's how you can prepare that zipper and then just use that in your fashion design. Now let's take a look at how easy it is to create those brushes in Inkscape and Affinity and also the options that you have there. Let's start with Inkscape. And here I've got the same pieces. I want to create that frame, so I'm going to just have that rectangle here as well. And in order for these to work, you have to select these and you have to combine them. So they are now a compound path and now you just copy them. Then you select that one and add the live path effect. Pattern along path. Take this from the clipboard and set this to repeat it, and there you've got it. This is basically what you can do. You have some options for spacing and whatnot, but Inkscape will not give you better options for the corners. So if you need that, then you have to build that completely manually by just applying this to lines. When you want to have a different piece, then you can draw that artwork, make the compound path, copy it to the clipboard, and then use this button again, and then you have that changed. Now, these do not get saved, but still what you can do if you have another object is just take this and copy it, and then select this one here, go to path, and then we can paste the path effect. And you see, we've got this pasted in here. So that's how you can get a path effect from one object to another instead of saving it. Let's take a look at what Affinity has. So in here, I've got the same objects, and now it's getting complicated. So this is the app that wanted to simplify your workflow by merging pixel, layout, and vector. But when you're creating brushes, you have a lot of work to do. We have these two objects, and the first thing we need to do is export that. So let's go to Export, and then we're going to export a PNG, and then we're going to export selection only. Usually it's the whole document. I've set it already to selection only. And then we can export that. But we need a background in that. So instead of creating that, I'm going to the JPEG option and export that. So we have a background in here. And of course, you need to make sure you have sufficient resolution. So you probably need to change the settings here, enlarge it, whatnot. So let's export that here and export that as the checker. And then you need that rectangle, and I'm going to make that a blue stroke. And now we need a brush. We need to create a new textured intensity brush, and this brush treats all the white areas and applies the actual color to them, and all the black areas are invisible. So that's what's happening here. Let's take that artwork and apply that, and then we need to edit the brush. And now we've got all these options, and you see we've got some variances that you can apply here, but the interesting is this one here. So now it's repeated, and you see again we have a rectangle, so the corners are actually a problem, and there we have some options to treat that. So you can set it to overlap, which is ugly. You can set it to pull or to fold. Not a lot of difference with this brush, actually. These are your options. No corners, no special corner elements, no other folding options, and also you do not get the start and end element here. So that's basically it for your patterns. What will also be a problem is when you want to change that brush. Now, let's imagine we want to have that just narrower. Now, what you have to do is export that again. So again, you have to go to export and then get this here like this. And then also, you see, we cannot edit this. What you have to do is now create a new brush with that new elements, set everything up. And then also, if you do not need this one here, delete it. So editing brushes is also not very efficient.